chat. Speaking of good news, this is pretty great. Pretty great. So the San Antonio Spurs, we were wondering who's going to be added to the coaching staff. And the Spurs just snagged a really good one. So as you can see here, Sean Sweeney, okay? When I first saw this, I was like, Sydney Sweeney's coming to the Spurs? No, it's actually Sean Sweeney, okay? All right, some of you guys got a little too excited. It's Sean Sweeney. So Sean Sweeney is a coach that was working with Jason Kidd. He was actually Jason Kidd's right-hand man. You can see here from what Tim McMahon said. So he said this is a big loss for the Dallas Mavericks, in which Sean Sweeney has been Jason Kidd's right-hand man at each stop of his coaching career, coordinated offense and defense in Dallas. I also read that he actually didn't want to depart from the Mavericks. They just didn't pay him, right? So this is one of those situations where he is loyal, okay? He was loyal. He was going to stick through it. But he didn't necessarily want to leave, but he was like, hey, this opportunity with the Spurs is just too big of an opportunity to not go after. So he went after it. So Sham says, Dallas Mavericks assistant Sean Sweeney has agreed on a deal to become the associate head coach of the San Antonio Spurs. So some people were kind of confused about like what associate head coach means, especially since we're, Spurs fans. From my understanding, we've just had associate coaches for a while, right? So what we've been doing is just having like coaches by committee, basically. And now we're going to have it. This is my understanding. Okay. I could be completely off on this, guys. But now we're going to have an associate head coach, which is basically what he was to Jason Kidd, right? Right-hand man. Makes sense, especially with Mitch Johnson, this being his very first real coaching gig, right? As a head coach in the NBA. So it makes sense for him to have someone that's experienced and they can bounce ideas off of, and he can be, his right-hand man, right? Batman and Robin, sort of speak. So it's good that he has that. And then it says Sweeney has interviewed for coaching jobs in recent years and now departs Mavs for elevated role. And also, we got I also have a video I want to go over because I've never seen it before, but apparently it's Sean Sweeney. But before we look at that, it was something on this that I thought was interesting. Here it is. This is also really cool. So Sweeney was brought over to Dallas along with head coach Jason Kidd in 2021 after previously working with Kidd in Milwaukee and Brooklyn. Sweeney's NBA career began with the Nets, where he started as a video coordinator before being named an assistant coach ahead of the 13-14 season. Now, this is what's cool. So this is from that same person, McMahon. From Tim McMahon. He will be considered a great loss for the Mavs organization since he has been Kidd's right-hand man and was their coordinator. He was also considered Giannis's preferred workout partner and played an integral role in his development during his time in Milwaukee. And then they just go on to say it makes sense for the Spurs to want him to work with Vic, right? So really good stuff there. So the Spurs, it seems like what they've been doing is adding as many defensive coaches as they humanly can to this team, which is really great because we know that this is our identity. Started with Sohan, then we grabbed Wemby, arguably going to be the greatest defender of all time, and then you grabbed Steph Castle, another really good defender, great defender, I would say, and then you're going to go ahead and get Dylan Harper, who is also a good defender. So the Spurs are going to have some defenders on this team. They have some true defenders on this squad, right? And if Devin Vassell stays, then he's also someone who has pretty good defense. I won't say he's the best on-ball defender, but he's pretty good. He's pretty good. He definitely won't burn you. Him being out there is not a negative. Yeah, sometimes the Mavs defense was amazing, so it's because of this man. Maybe, Muhammad. Maybe. I saw someone, I didn't look into this, but I did see someone mention how the teams that he's been on, their defenses has been pretty impressive. So, I don't know. This is going to be smooth as hell. Spurs are just so smart, bro. I said this before, but with the new CPA, where a lot of teams have to actually build their teams now, you can't just buy talent, right? Unless you're the freaking Lakers and Luka Doncic just just falls into your lap. I don't know what's up with that. But for the most part, you have to actually be strategic, and you have to be mathematical with how you go about business, and you have to build it from the ground up. And I'm looking at teams like the Pacers, and I'm looking at teams like OKC Thunder, and I'm just sitting back and I'm like, this is our playhouse. I've been a Spurs fan for a very long time, y'all. This is our playhouse. This is what we do. Like you're playing our game now. I'm comfortable with that. Think about the times that we've lost. Most of the time when the Spurs have lost, we lost to teams that were bought, not built. It happened all the time. But we still ended up getting the last laugh, but it happened all the time. Most recent examples, the 2013 Miami Heat, and then we ended up getting injured, but the 2017 Warriors, right? Like, we get that's what hurt us. That's what hurt us. I'm talking Western Conference Finals wise, when we were actually like pretty talented. But now, if everyone has to play our game, we're come on now. That's easy. That's easy for us. We should sign Caitlin Clark for 3-point shooting. Why not? Add that depth. Add that depth. Women can try out for the NBA, right? I feel like all that would do is just hurt the WNBA, though. I think technically they can. And vice versa, but yeah. Caitlin Clark can't shoot, man. She's pretty good. Do you expect Keldon or Devin to be moved? Or do you think you need to move them to improve? Oh, man. I get called a hater enough as it is. So I don't necessarily think you have to move Devin. But I kind of feel the same way as I have about Keldon, where I feel like you probably need to. That you got to move him. Because at this point, it's like every time I see Keldon and he's pretty good, it's when everyone's injured. But when he's actually in a system, playing together, it doesn't look that great. And I don't think that that's like a character flaw. I don't think that means he's a selfish person, or I don't think any of that. I think that he is a Spur, personality-wise, caring about, his squad. I think that he's a good leader, especially off the court. I think he's upstanding guy. Like, I think he's cool. Like, I like Keldon. It's just his play style and his tendencies will screw you up, especially if you play him too much. And I mentioned this in another video too. A few people got upset at it, but I mean, it's just the truth, man. Like, what he's one of those players where to get the best out of him, the ball has to be in his hands, right? But then by the ball being in his hands, if it's too often, then you're getting less out of the other players on the court. And then if you're asking him just to be a role player, hey, just sit in the corner and shoot threes, there's other guys that are better at doing that, and there's also other guys that are better defensively that you can put in that role, where defensively he's really bad. So I don't know. Another Keldon rant. No, it's just, I'm just being honest, okay? I don't see minutes for Keldon on this team next year. If the Spurs can get creative, I'm sure you can find a way to use Keldon, right? But we'll see. We're going to be adding a lot of depth, I'm sure. Keldon would draw a 41 game and then go on a streak of averaging 5 points. Yeah. And I hate that Keldon, it seems like he has to be one of those players, at least for us, where you throw him in there, see if you can get any offense out of him, and as soon as you realize you can't, then you got to sit him. And I saw somebody in the chat mention how he's situational. I'm just like, do we want to deal with just a situational, like he was supposed to be a little bit more than that for us than just a situational player, but it is what it is. I don't know. Anyways, besides the point, Spurs are adding more defensive minded coaches to the squad. It is a good thing. It is great. I'm excited. You should be excited too. Good looks. Good looks. Yeah, he's a real X Factor, or real X Factor for sure. Yeah. I gotta add it on to the end of the video when we talked about this. We were talking about Sean Sweeney. I was going to show this. Let's go over it. Sean Sweeney teaching his preferred closeout technique and explains why it's beneficial when stunting and recovering with their no middle, no paint stance. All right, so we get to see our coach. Gosh, how did I forget to do this? Let me turn desktop on. There we go.
Now let's talk about our closeout technique. I love that you got the stick hand up. One point I would change on that, you're doing a good job just in general, is I would prefer my right hand up on the right side, my left hand up on the left side. Now we know we want to mirror the basketball, but just in general, I'm going to talk through why I would prefer that. Put the ball right here, please, for me. If you were to stunt with your hand and foot nearest the basketball, take a dribble, and then recover out with your hand here in the passing lane, throw it, and into your closeout, it takes you right into your closeout. Does that make sense? Same thing if you were to stunt for the stunner, it would take you right into your closeout there. It also helps us with our no middle, no paint stance. Now, if you're in a no middle, no paint stance,
it's kind of cool. We did the same thing with our shooting coach, remember? You guys remember going over shooting coach teaching some things? All right, I'm sold on it. It didn't take much, did it?
One point I would like to make here with you, you're doing a good job again, is let me back up here real quick. I want you to just get your foot here outside of his foot or inside of his foot here. Does that make sense? So that way, I'm making him go this way without giving him a direct line drive. We talked about we don't want to give up penetrating drives. We certainly don't want to give up blow-bys. So I'm in this stance right here, heel toe, my butt is down, I'm ready to move. I'm tracing that basketball, similar to in boxing, okay? If I'm fighting a southpaw and got his foot outside of mine, he will win. If I've got my foot outside of him, I win, okay? So we want to make sure we're great with our stance there.
Dang, he just compared it to southpaw. That's dope. Impressive. Well, I think what's really impressive is just, I mean, look, this top tier coaches right here, right? Like, I mean, it's a gimme that they can articulate themselves and explain things in a cohesive way. But yeah, I mean, he explained it so well. I mean, I understood it, right? Like, even me probably getting killed by any of these kids, even I could understand that and implement what he's talking about. But yeah. Oh, the new coach? Yep, new coach. All right. We'll add this to the other video. I screwed up. Sorry.